Rain poured outside the small tailor shop where Emma, a 23-year-old seamstress, worked tirelessly through the night. Her hands were rough from years of stitching, yet her heart remained tender. That night, as thunder roared, she heard faint cries near the dumpster behind her shop. Curious and worried, she ran outside with her umbrella and saw two small bundles, twin babies wrapped in soaked blankets, trembling and abandoned. Without hesitation, she scooped them up, shielding them from the storm, unaware that this single act of compassion would change the entire course of her life forever. Emma called the authorities, but after hours of paperwork and no sign of relatives, she couldn't bear the thought of leaving the infants in an orphanage. She decided to foster them temporarily. Days turned into weeks, and soon she couldn't imagine her world without their tiny faces. She named them Noah and Nora. Her small apartment echoed with their laughter, and her shop became their playground. Customers adored her kindness, often tipping extra just to see her smile. Emma, who had once been alone, now found purpose in their innocent giggles and nightly cuddles. Years passed, and life wasn't easy. She worked extra hours, repairing uniforms and dresses to afford milk and diapers. When the twins turned 5, they began helping her in the shop, Nora threading needles, Noah sorting fabrics. Together they created a small world of love and warmth, even when money was scarce. Emma often told them, "We might not have everything, but we have each other, and that's enough." Yet, deep in her heart, she sometimes wondered about their real parents, the ones who had left them behind that rainy night. One evening, a wealthy woman visited Emma's shop to repair an expensive gown. While Emma worked, the woman noticed the framed photo of Emma with the twins. "Your children are beautiful," she said kindly. Emma smiled softly. "They're not mine by blood, but they're mine by heart." The woman was touched and insisted Emma enter a local design competition for small business owners, saying her work deserved recognition. Emma hesitated, unsure if someone like her belonged among the elite, but the twins encouraged her. "Mom, you can do anything." With trembling hands, Emma submitted her designs, a blend of elegance and humility that reflected her life story. Weeks later, she received a letter. "Congratulations. You've been selected for the City Design Expo." Overwhelmed with joy, she hugged her twins tightly. At the event, her handmade dresses drew attention for their simplicity and grace. Little did she know, among the visitors that evening was a tall man in an expensive suit, Alexander Knight, a young billionaire CEO known for his luxury fashion empire. Alexander was drawn to Emma's booth. He paused, studying a children's outfit that seemed oddly familiar, the pattern, the stitching, even the color. When he saw the twins standing proudly beside her, something stirred deep within him. Their eyes, they looked exactly like his late wife's. Shock washed over him. Could it be? His heart raced as memories flooded back. The night his wife had died in childbirth, the hospitals claimed that both babies hadn't survived. He had buried empty cribs in sorrow, never questioning the truth. Trying to compose himself, Alexander approached Emma. "These designs are beautiful," he said softly, his gaze flicking between her and the twins. Emma, unaware of his turmoil, thanked him shyly. "They're my inspiration," she said, nodding toward the children. Alexander smiled faintly, his voice trembling. "They remind me of someone I once loved." Something in his tone unsettled her, but before she could ask more, a crowd pulled him away. That night, he couldn't sleep, his mind haunted by the faces of those children. The next day, Alexander ordered a private investigation into Emma and the twins. The results shook him to his core. The hospital records were falsified, his children were alive, and living with the humble seamstress. Guilt and disbelief consumed him. He wanted to storm into her home immediately, but something stopped him. What if she didn't know? What if she had simply loved them when the world had abandoned them? He decided to meet her again, not as a CEO, but as a man searching for truth. Alexander returned to the shop the next morning, wearing simple clothes. Emma was surprised but welcomed him kindly. They spoke for hours about life, struggles, and dreams. He was moved by her sincerity and selflessness. The twins soon joined them, laughing and showing him their school drawings. He felt both pain and pride watching them, his children, thriving in the hands of another. When Emma offered him tea, he noticed her hands, scarred yet gentle, the hands that had protected his babies. Days turned into visits. Alexander began helping Emma secretly, recommending her designs to luxury stores. Her business started blooming, and she couldn't understand why fortune suddenly favored her. Yet, Alexander kept his secret. He wasn't ready to reveal who he truly was. He wanted to make sure her life wouldn't collapse from the shock. But the twins grew fond of him, calling him Mr. Alex, unaware that they were calling their real father by name. One afternoon, during a storm strikingly similar to the night she found the twins, Emma asked softly, "Why do you keep coming back, Mr. Alex?" His gaze dropped. "Because I feel at home here," he whispered. Their eyes met, warmth and confusion mingling between them. She smiled faintly, unaware that love had quietly begun to bloom in both their hearts, born not of wealth or power, but of shared kindness and longing for belonging. Soon, rumors spread about a mysterious investor supporting her shop. Some accused Emma of using charm to attract rich clients. Heartbroken, she confronted Alexander. "People are talking. Are you the reason my business is suddenly growing?" He hesitated, then nodded. "I didn't mean to deceive you," he said. "I just wanted to help." Emma's voice trembled. "But why me?" He stepped closer, whispering, "Because you saved the only things that ever mattered to me." Emma froze, not understanding. "What do you mean?" she asked. Alexander took a deep breath, his voice breaking. "Noah and Nora, they're my children." The room fell silent. Her hands shook, her mind spinning. "That's impossible," she murmured. He showed her the DNA results, tears glistening in his eyes. "They were taken from me after my wife's death. I searched for years. You found them." Emma's heart shattered, not from anger, but fear. She looked at the twins, playing happily outside, unaware of the storm brewing inside. "You're their father," she whispered. Alexander nodded. "And you're the woman who gave them life again." Tears streamed down both faces. "I don't want to take them from you," he said softly. "But they deserve to know the truth." That night, Emma couldn't sleep. Every memory of raising them flashed before her eyes. The first steps, the laughter, the sleepless nights. Could she lose them now? She walked to their room, kissed their foreheads, and whispered, "No matter what happens, you'll always be my children." The next morning, Alexander visited again. Together, they sat the twins down. Emma's voice trembled as she said, "Sweethearts, there's something we need to tell you." Alexander took their hands gently and said, "I'm your father." Confusion filled their eyes, then silence. Nora looked at Emma and asked, "Does that mean you're not our mom?" Emma's tears fell as she whispered, "I'll always be your mom." Days passed in quiet confusion. Alexander didn't pressure them. He visited often, sharing stories about their late mother and teaching them about his company. Emma watched with mixed emotions, joy for them, pain for herself. Yet, she noticed something beautiful. Alexander always treated her with gratitude, not arrogance. Soon, media caught wind of the story, a billionaire finding his lost twins raised by a poor seamstress. Paparazzi swarmed her shop, customers fled, and Emma's peaceful life shattered overnight. Alexander tried to shield her, offering her a home in his mansion. She refused, saying, "I don't belong in your world." He looked into her eyes and whispered, "Maybe my world needs someone like you." He began spending more time in the small shop than in his skyscraper office. Together, they stitched fabrics and laughter back into life. The twins loved seeing them together, often teasing, "Dad, you should marry Mom." Both blushed, but neither dared to answer. One evening, while sewing, Emma pricked her finger and he rushed to her side instinctively. Their eyes met, and for the first time, he said softly, "Emma, I don't just owe you my children, I owe you my heart." Silence filled the room. She looked at him with tears, whispering, "You don't have to repay love." Weeks later, he invited her and the twins to a charity gala. When they arrived, all eyes turned to the humble seamstress in a dress she'd made herself. Alexander held her hand publicly and introduced her. "This woman is the reason I found my family again." Applause erupted, and for the first time, Emma didn't feel small, she felt seen. After the event, under shimmering lights, he knelt before her, not with a diamond, but with the same small thread bracelet she once tied on the twins. "Emma, will you be not just their mother, but my wife?" Her hands covered her mouth as tears fell freely. The twins screamed with joy, "Say yes, Mom." Through tears, she whispered, "Yes." The crowd cheered, and Alexander embraced her tightly, whispering, "Our family is finally whole." The once poor seamstress had stitched love into destiny, turning threads of sorrow into a tapestry of miracles. The next morning, the sun rose over their new home, a blend of luxury and warmth. Emma opened her own designer line called Noah and Nora Designs, funded by Alexander but led by her vision. Each piece symbolized hope, compassion, and resilience. Years later, as the twins grew into teenagers, Emma often told them, "Love isn't about where you come from, it's about who stands by you when no one else will." Alexander would nod, holding her hand, thankful for the night fate brought her to his world. One day, Emma visited her old shop, now turned into a museum of memories. On the wall hung the first tiny baby clothes she ever sewed for the twins. She smiled, whispering, "We made it." Alexander joined her, wrapping his arms around her waist. "You saved me before you even knew my name," he said. She leaned on him and replied, "And you gave me the family I never had." As the sun set over the city, the once young seamstress and the billionaire who had lost everything stood together, surrounded by love and laughter. What began as an act of kindness in the rain had turned into a miracle stitched by fate, proof that even broken threads can weave the most beautiful endings.